know,
I know. I think Goose would be a huge fan of a golf course with quantum rifts in it. You know,
ooh,
you're like, oh, I lost my ball in the sand trap. I lost it in the quantum rift.
hole in one universe.
Yeah, that's dope.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's the first pun of the podcast. We were a little late with it, but it came.
I,
It
I
came
used
eventually.
I used to have some really nice golf socks, but I had to throw them away because I got a hole in one.
Welcome to Around the Corn, presented by the Knights Guild. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe because we need those likes and subscriptions more than ever based on this part 2 of what we got coming today. If people want to hear about it, we want to get it out there. If you want to hear us speculate wildly on something in-game, throw your questions in the comments, and next episode we'll pretend to know the answer as always, and maybe even this episode we'll actually know the answers because we have someone here to do it for us. Follow us and the Knights Guild on X. You can also learn a ton about the Knights Guild on Discord and the Guild website. All the links, as always, are in the description. I'm your host, Fo Hubers, and I am joined by everybody's favorite Eddie Z. How's it going, my friend?
Doing well, man. I'm happy to just get through part 2 of this interview.
I'm happy to be. I mean, I'm excited to get through it, and I'm going to be happy that when it's over because I have been more nervous about this than anything I've been nervous in a long time. But thank God for our guest Rob. He was so gracious, and he is like, it was after the first couple of questions, I felt like we were like, okay, it's just a conversation, man. Just relax, bro.
Yeah, no. Hopefully, we can get some more people after this to come onto the podcast and just do some more chit chat and looking at you, Josh.
Looking at you, Josh.
Exactly.
So in the past, we've had kind of, I mean, the land mints were kind of what the wild west of mints, where it was like open and it was like, within minutes it was out, and then you kind of went to the vehicle mints where it was, it's been spaced out over a day where there's been different tiers, and so everyone's had access to it, which seems like better. And now I know in the roadmap you're talking about the upcoming mints next year, where it's like maybe it seems kind of to me smaller items, like clothes, tools, weapons. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be different degrees. Will these mints be the same where they're there's that 2 days where there's multiple tiers, or are they going to be spread out longer where maybe they're available for just a month or a season or something? Is that what we're kind of gravitating towards?
I mean,
can we talk about scarcity too? It's like in terms of each one.
Well, I think we'll continue to experiment because we're still in these early days. We want a store where, just like a traditional game, there's always something within that. So maybe 10 to 15 items, low cost items that are not compulsory, but that actually excites Web2 players. Some players want to get more involved. I follow my football team. I want to buy stuff about my football team. That doesn't necessarily
Absolutely
mean that I want to get my money back or want to go and sell them. With Web3, you can absolutely do that. But I surround myself with all the stuff, and at the same time, I know I'm supporting my club. So people do like that. But again, if you go into some games, there is games that you've got stores that are jam packed, and I've never bought a single thing, and never ever will. It's completely up to the. We're never going to force people. You will always be able to, as we've set our stall out early. You can go to Toledo Valley and you can race. We've got A, B, and C class vehicles that are free. That are just as fast. I mean, yes, at the moment you need an NFT to get into the game, but we will remove that fairly soon in the not too near future, and then people will come in and they'll be able to race and compete. But I think where NFT can benefit is if you do have an NFT, you can then go in, you can then enter into a different type of competition that will then give a Web3 reward because you're going down that route. And I think, as we've seen with this current competition that we're going on at the moment, for the C classes, all the different rarities can enter. So there's a prize whether you win with a mythic or whether you're with a common. However, your rarity actually then gives an individual prize to the individual. So it has no effect on whether you win or not. This is completely separate.
Mhm.
You've made a deal that says, look, I'm going to race with a common, therefore this, and I think that actually works quite well. I've never seen that done before, and we'll continue to do those kind of experiments and see what the feedback is.
I
Yeah,
actually went out and bought a rare just for the competition.
it is a good balance. I think that's a really brilliant way to do it because it's definitely not play to win. Is you're just getting slightly rewarded because you have a higher rarity. I think that's a good
Yeah.
way to approach certain things. But and when it comes down to like the minting of items, I was thinking in terms of scarcity, right? As well. That's one thing that has that come into the picture. Like, is it going to be more like unlimited amount of, you know, tools and clothing, or is it going to be to a certain degree of limits of 5,000 or 10,000 limits or 50,000 limits?
Yeah,
uh
I think we'll have a mixture. I think we'll definitely have seasonal ones. So like you say, you can go and recognize that was only available in season one or season two. We'll have some items that reoccur, but they might be 6 months or a year from when you've previously seen them.
mhm.
We'll have some things that will always be there. There'll be some core elements. You might need a pickaxe that you can get in the game, but you might want one that looks slightly different. It won't give you any advantage except it's a pay pay to flex, completely optional.
Pay to
Yeah, I
flex.
like
That's
that.
I like that
I like
terminology.
that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Pay to flex.
I'm gonna start using the hashtag
Yeah,
Betaflex.
hashtag pay to flex, definitely. I want to kind of change subjects here a little bit, Rob, and talk about an interview you did at Consensus where you hinted about nodes, future development of nodes, and I think uh, I don't know how you could talk about the nodes that you've done and call it anything other than a huge success. I mean, like just looking at the number that you sold and how well they've been doing in the secondary market and the way that you can get the rewards. And so I know for me, where I was like, buying those nodes, I'm now much more curious and interested about these future nodes that you talked about at that interview. And I know there you said, and you have some updates in it about 6 months, and it's been about 2 months, but I'm wondering if there's any updates you can give us, and if not, maybe you can talk generally about what these future nodes problems they might solve for the game.
Yeah, nodes for me are really, really exciting, but we want to introduce technology that makes sense and where it fits. So when we created our NFT platform, there was a big problem there because people were just sending ADA to an address, flooding the blockchain with transactions, and then you were hoping that somebody, if you missed out, somebody would give you a refund. I mean, that's just crazy. That's like leaving your money on the counter and hoping. Yeah, so we didn't want to do that. We wanted to create the technology that would you would send the payment and receive the NFT at the same time. And it was early days, and we had some issues, but we got there in the end, and we're really proud with our marketplace. And you've seen that iterate over time. So marketplaces was a big problem. We needed to solve that with games. We also see an opportunity there, especially for decentralization and nodes. But nodes are quite saturated. It's probably the wrong word, but there's a lot of people doing nodes the wrong way. They kind of, I've got to be careful what I say, but they deliver something. No, they sell the nodes, and then the technology comes whenever it comes. So we're always careful that when we're ready to sell something or introduce it, that we have got a working prototype, and we know it's going to work. So this is what we did with our current nodes. But what we're missing at the moment is we have the technology, we now have the back end. We just need to put them both together. So we're only about a month away from that happening. So from launch to integration with the launcher is about 2 or 3 months, which I think is great. So that kind of brings you up to speed with the file nodes, which is new technology that's never been done before. And we massively see that project in itself expanded. So that's one thing in the future. Um, I think it is also natural to do hosting. So game hosting, where players will be able to host game servers, that comes with a lot of security issues. But now we've got the foundation of the model working for rewards and actually how to deliver them. I think that will come. I don't know when that will come, but that feels natural. But that also, we need to learn a lot of how our community will be hosting these current nodes to make sure that they are stable. Because you
Yeah.
don't want to be playing a game like a racing game and suddenly somebody switches off a laptop somewhere. Yeah, that's going
Right.
to be a worse
That, f-
nightmare.
that feels like kind of a lot of alpha for us there. So thank you for sharing that about that. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm
But that's
excited.
one of many. We
Yeah,
probably got idea on the board. There's about 8 different types of nodes.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
that's very exciting just to know, just because of how, because it's just there's a mixture of it, right? There's centralization, decentralized nodes, and then there's centralized nodes as well that I think you spoke
Yeah,
about
you
with
need the
a
hybrid. You need the
yeah.
hybrid.
It's kind of fantastic because at the same time it seems that you're able to scale to the masses at that point, like regardless of what you do, and even have, I mean, I'm speculating again, just the fact that you can even potentially have that as another side business, another side revenue
Mhm.
portion in terms of like for not just cornucopias, but for other games that, hey, we have our own server, a way to do servers as well for you guys as well. You can come to us versus going to AWS. I mean,
Yeah, that
I
idea is
love
not lost on us.
right, exactly. So there is that as well, right? So that's fantastic. I mean, I love it. The technologies exist. Congratulations to that. Honestly, to you and your team, I want to say that because
And
this
that
is something that
benefits not just, Web3. That's all games. That could
correct,
benefit from that.
right? It's a huge deal, and I think that's just understated.
Rob, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit because I don't know if you know, I'm kind of really interested in the lore, and I have a writing background, so I'm really interested in the story. So I think it's funny because like I've been kind of consuming that information quite a bit, and it's funny to me when someone says like, well, what's even the lore? I don't even know anything about it. And I think actually a lot's been shared about the lore, but
Mhm.
maybe it's been shared at different times in different places, and so people haven't heard it all. So I wanted to kind of try and restate my understanding of the lore and see if you can correct any information or add to it, if that's all right with you. So,
Sure.
uh,
I think to date we've probably done bad job and maybe a good job of the law.
yeah,
But
I mean, I think if you, I mean, I consume way more information than probably the average, person out there for it. So I've been able to put together a good picture of it. But I do, I mean, but I also think it makes sense to, want to give those little snippets, right? Like that you've done for the interviews and things where you've gone it. So, but I do know in the roadmap for anyone who's interested that you do have coming up fairly soon, update to lore documents. So I think we're going
yeah,
to be
with a
getting a fuller
star
story.
disclaimer may
Yeah.
slip.
Yeah,
Yeah, very soon.
exactly, exactly. And with the fact that what you're about to say is also subject to change, right? So
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
that
Yeah,
element.
as all of it is, of course. But so this
definitely.
is what I have for the lore. All
Go on
right.
then.
In the 1950s, a substance was discovered known as genesium, and it kind of accelerated the technological advancement of society. This is why now in the present day we have this steampunk, almost Jetsons-like aesthetic. Somewhere between 1950 and present day, a calamity befell the Earth and perhaps spread across the multiverse. In our universe, 12 experts in their fields, known as the 12 architects, came together to create Cornucopias, which is this refuge for the people stranded in universes where Earth is scorched. That was a word we got in their recent Copy 101. Scorched was the first time I
Mhm.
heard that word, and desolate. While these architects are heroes and admired by many, they are keepers of a secret and incredible power. There's a villain known as the 13th architect who had a history with the 12, but he now seems to be kind of an outsider. So to me, it seems like the central idea of this game, the overarching story and the lore is we have to unravel this mystery. When we know you like the mystery games because of Shenmue, the mystery of the 12, understand the Genesium's power and origin, and learn about the 13th architect. How did I do there? Does that sound right? Is there anything you
Nice.
want to add?
I mean, yeah, retro futuristic. The first game I ever played on the PC was called Scorched Earth.
Yeah,
Um,
we have to do a deep dive on that one.
yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, that interview with David was very eye opening.
Yeah.
It's like I need to get this off my chest, and it will happen within the first 2 minutes. We definitely need to share more. I think we in this week's Kopi Cafe, we shared a kind of like a concept art of what that
Yeah.
calamity looked like.
That was our guess. That was the
Mm,
calamity. You didn't say it, but the big thing over
ah,
the ocean seemed like it was maybe the calamity. Yeah.
yeah, that was the calamity. In the future, you will see some of those other words that David said.
I love that screenshot. I love the artistic like freedom that you guys give, and whoever created that, whether it was David or Catherine or whoever. But it just looks really impressive. I just saw like it looks like you can see different planets through the warp through this rift or something like that. I can't tell what it is. Maybe it's just multiple black holes or what, but it looks really nice. It's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we are. Well, I think, like you say, is multiverse. We are one of many Earths.
To me, that answered the question of where the blue skin comes from. That got answered accidentally by David, because now we know that these people are coming from other Earths and other multiverses where maybe they're blue skinned or maybe they're pink skinned. So I remember you a while
No,
back
no.
said,
The blue skin itself is body art.
hmm,
Tattoos.
okay.
So it's not creatures from another world, from a blue
Right.
planet.
So maybe the body art and other that we wouldn't recognize in this, Earth,
Yeah,
but maybe in that Earth they're pigmenting their skin.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
really
yeah.
It seems more of like
Have
a
you seen where there is technology you can actually put under your
mhm.
skin, and you can change your tattoos with your boat? It's pretty dangerous, very early
oh,
days, but it's
didn't
that
know that.
similar kind of idea. I'm not saying there isn't going to be other creatures that are coming in. That may well be.
Okay, okay. Write that down. Write that down,
I'm just
Fo.
not saying that.
What did David say? He said a interdimensional duck or something, just coming a little innocent duck coming through the portal, and all of a sudden just shooting lasers out its eyes. So
Yeah, I
I love
think
that.
this would be me speculating because I don't.
Speculate. That's why we're here.
Yeah, I'm not involved with most of those laws, so some
Mm,
of the stuff comes out, but maybe the duck gets changed as it's coming through the portal.
mm.
It might
Oh,
not
okay.
necessarily start off that way. It might be
Mm,
like like the Incredible Hulk, where he's hammered with all this gamma.
gotcha.
Who knows? I don't know. That purely is me speculating. I'll have to go and read up.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get some speculation from you, it's like maybe it's pretty good. We're doing pretty good
Yeah,
then.
I mean,
So,
look
but
at those quantum bears. I mean, they are bears that
yeah.
clearly have a heritage of bears.
So, something that I know that is important to you is kind of because you've mentioned it many times in interviews is this style of choose your own adventure.
Mhm.
So the lore that we talked about, that we have laid out there, this mystery, and that was kind of a big influence to you, the Shenmue game, which is all a mystery.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like this unraveling of a I think a murder mystery. Is that kind of what you mean when you say choose your own adventure? That you can investigate this side of it, or you can ignore the mystery altogether and just be a worker farming your land. Is that how you think of choose your own adventure?
Yeah, there's going to be a main overarching story, and there's going to be subplots, and some of the subplots will probably last a season. Some will run along the main story maybe forever, but there'll be spin-offs. But what I mean by kind of choose your own adventure is you can play Cornucopias on your own. You can play it as part of a small team, or with your friends, or with a large team. So maybe you want to be the best racer in the world. Maybe you want to be a casual explorer. Maybe you want to just farm and build on your own property. Um, Maybe you want to be the leader of a group and you want to set out on huge, dangerous adventures. Maybe you want to be part of a team, but maybe you don't want to be the main hero. So you want to go along for the adventures, but you might only want a supporting, maybe a less dangerous role. Give you some more scenarios. Maybe you want to just play Monopoly, build yourself a little empire, rent out your vehicles, rent out your
Mm,
properties, and everything that goes with that. Or maybe you just want to check in every now and again and just do a little bit of fishing, bit of mining, and just chill out for those couple
yeah.
of hours in the evening. So that's what I mean. Choose your own adventure. We'll offer them all.
So this is why I like that you're at the head of the project here, just because nothing's off the table for you, and I love that. So that's why we always kind of encourage on our podcast to get those comments, get those suggestions out there now, because you're going to help it evolve. And at the same time, the more people that hit those stars on there, just to kind of reemphasize that suggestion, or it's they listen, they read these comments. So just,
Yeah.
you can help make the game better by making more suggestions, because I'm sure Rob is probably, I bet you, right? You probably read some stuff there that you're like, ooh, that's a good idea. We'll
I
probably,
have indeed. I mean, look at Clido Valley. I mean, we will have showrooms and shops in there. Got a bit of experiment, I suppose, with Rumble Ball. Not our
Mhm.
best mini game, but definitely pre alpha as a
Concept.
game.
Mhm.
But there could be other experiences in there. We could have maybe like a laser quest. We could have mini
Mhm.
golf. We could have all kinds of these things that will still fit in with the vibe of what Kalido Valley is, but still expand the game. And we can always put leaderboards behind them. We can
Yeah.
Web3 them, or we can just leave them, and who
And
knows? Who
I
knows?
know I think Goose would be a huge fan of a golf course with quantum rifts in it.
Ooh,
Ooh,
You're like, oh, I lost my ball in the sand trap. I lost it in the quantum rift.
hole in one universe.
yeah, that's dope.
There we go.
Yeah,
That's the first pun of the podcast. We were a little late with it, but
I,
it
I
came
used
eventually.
I used to have some really nice golf socks, but I had to throw them away because I got a hole in one.
There it is. The classic dry humor. I lo- oh man.
Oh man, because as we're going in through into Solace, right? We go from the Toledo Valley. We're going through. I guess we call that what would you call that? That
It's like a hub.
center, the
Yeah.
hub, the center hub. Is that what we're
You got
calling
the
it?
sector hub. You
Yeah.
you go
The
from
sector
Kalido
hub.
Valley, then you go into kind of like the world travel space,
Right.
and then you go into the sector hub, and from
Into the
there you
sector hub.
yeah.
So we've noticed that there's, we like, I think there's like, looks like what looks like apartments in
Hmm.
this,
Yeah. Almost
in
like
the
it's like
center.
a castle, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. So is there, but in it, of course, we just have to ask, and is that part of the lore, and how does that look like? What should we expect when it comes out to
Yeah, so
that?
so, so that is that's the starting point really for the players. So we in the past we spoke about home bubbles, and then we thought, well, actually, if
Mhm.
you're a refugee from Earth, would you really be gifted this really nice floating island
Yeah,
in the
true.
sky that probably costs about $1 million to build? It's probably not what would fit in with the law.
Mhm.
So just above those sectors, yeah, they are the apartments. So, and it is a post-apocalyptic game. So again, it doesn't make sense to be gifted this huge island. Although I think they'll probably will come back in the future, and there might be like a holiday resort. So you could probably own your own home bubble, but not in the same way. But the idea, I think it makes perfect sense. You start in this new world, you get placed in the basement, and part of progression, you work your way up to the penthouse and beyond. The city will come in the future. You'll be able to migrate there. But yeah, you won't be starting in Kalido in the future. You'll be starting a lot closer to the action.
Understood. And we feel like, I think during 7 days, again going back to 7 days of Solace with Josh and the David interview, uh, there was talks about like limits. I think someone in the community had raised questions about limits of capacity for these. Like I see that, and I guess going back to that same center hub, will the how many people can actually, I guess, fit in those apartments that we're talking about in those?
Yeah. I
Will
think you said
millions
it
of
was,
people be?
yeah, it was like the number you had in the past was so big. And I remember thinking, like, how are you going to fit all that in there? But I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm really curious to know about that.
How many people within the sector? I mean, all of the 12 theme zones that they will have their own sector hubs.
Hmm.
We'll have the city as well. That will have apartments. There'll be places to stop within the megadomes. There'll be more than one megadome, not just Kalido. That we
Gotcha.
can expand the world as more and more players come on. The creativity or ways that we can add people in there is
Awesome.
really unlimited.
You mentioned the home bubbles, and then I was going through some older stuff in an early interview. I saw Josh talk about like the personal bubbles, and he said that they were, the words he used, like the demand that those bubbles create are kind of essential for creating utility for the land and things like that, because like you want to put something in your home bubble and you want to put it in your building, you need to go to the land to craft it and all that. And so it was
Yeah.
like this kind of like organic, cycle as an economy is. And now that you've temporarily moved away from the home bubbles, I'm wondering if, like, where does that demand come from now? Is it have you thought about where that what that demand those home bubbles created, is it now going to those apartments, or is it going somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean,
It's like,
you'll have those same loops for landowners. So landowners will want to craft items and even their own homes. So they'll want to do that. But those that are not landowners, that they will want to hopefully contribute towards the districts where they could rent these places, and you'll be providing resources so that you can build town halls and all the other amenities within the different districts. I mean, everybody's walking around at the moment and it's really dark. Well, if in the future you can all start crafting some lampposts, and then we can all see where we're going. So, but the apartments themselves, yeah, from day one, well, day one when the game goes live, if you want to, you'll be in an empty basement. So yes, you can go and craft some items. And if you never want to join a district, you just want to play on your own and just decorate your place, you can do that.
I learned something new from Late Game Crypto's live with David that I don't know if it was just information that I forgot, but it was talking about the how the kind of market entities, the corporations kind of within the story of Cornucopias are going to have like a huge impact on the way that we're
Mm,
able to engage in commerce. Because I think in my mind, we're always thinking about how we are going to trade with each other. And it never really occurred to me that I'm also going to be trading with these fictional entities within the game. And I know in a recent interview you talked about the levers that you were going to be able to pull in the economy,
yeah.
and to be able to make sure that it doesn't go off the rails. So is this what this is? Are these businesses that we're going to be trading with in the game? Is that kind of what that mechanism is for us to be able to like have a really well functioning economy? And how big is our trade going to be? Is that going to be a huge part of it, or is it mostly like trading with each other?
It's a good question. I mean, trade and the economy will probably be one of the things that makes or breaks the game. So it is really, really important.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of the way that we have these manufacturers. We have Bubble Jet and we have GTI.
mhm.
Um, that brings the world alive, and in the future, maybe people might be have their favorite manufacturer, just like we have now.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but other parts of the game will also go that way. So we will probably have, um, hmm, what should I say? We will have different corporates, and
Mhm.
corporates are like they'll probably be competing with each other. So that will
Mhm.
expand some of the stories out.
Ah,
Yeah.
There'll be
interesting.
all kinds of trade, and then
Like
people,
Starbucks versus Dunkin' Donuts.
yeah, they
Yeah,
might
it even reminds
sabotage
me
in
of,
there. Who knows?
yeah, it reminds me of, like, Ready Player One. You have the IOI, right? Which is like that's the corporate
Yeah,
entity. So that's kind of interesting to think about that, and it also reminds me of, like, other games, like Grand Theft Auto. They have different brands of vehicles that they have in there. They also Borderlands, they have different brands of guns in that game, which is what's the appeal. So that's actually a brilliant move. I like that. That's
yeah.
a really cool. Mhm.
And the being part of factions and groups, that you you will have your town. You'll be part of a district. So, we've talked about district versus district. Maybe the solaces are going to be competitive with each other, or maybe the solaces are all one big group and they will be competing against maybe Esperanza and Fortune and all the others. Who knows in the law, maybe all the different theme zones are owned by different conglomerates. I don't know.
Or we could
Speculation.
be needing to save another theme zone for all we know because they're
Yeah,
being bombarded. I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be a nice story, right? Like, hey, everybody, Fortune 2 is being attacked. We all need to really get together and rally the
yeah.
troops.
Definitely. And
That'd be
what about the bubbles that didn't make it? Who knows?
oh
That's
oh
So, like, am I crazy in imagining a world where we're like around the corn is now doing like weekly like lumber market updates for cornucopias, and instead of like like obsessing about Bitcoin, now we're obsessing about the price of lumber in cornucopias? Is that like what where we're headed here on around the corn?
I mean, I don't know. Have you seen a trade center in Toledo?
Yeah, no, it's I
yeah
have it, and
yeah.
it's now becoming more tangible and apparent to me that this is it's funny because it really so much mimics life. A lot of fun.
I can imagine us now, like in the future, like having the tickers at the bottom of the screen, just scrolling through of all the prices of lumber,
Yeah,
prices of stone, prices of quantisite, right? It's just it's so
Yeah,
be so funny.
I
Yeah,
know, that's
big
funny.
explosion in Esperanza now. Fish prices go through the roof because they're quite rare. Who knows?
uh, great, fantastic. It's been said with the updates to the roadmap, and I think you've mentioned this also with in Copy Cafe that you want to go ahead and have a full alpha release by Q2 of 2025, and we're not going to hold you to that, but
Mm.
and we know it's a tentative schedule and timeline. But how do you test a Web3 economy in such a way that you accurately predict it when the game goes live?
Yeah, is it different than Web 2? Is testing a Web 3 game different than Web 2?
Yeah, there's danger. There's definitely danger in running kind of like a live service in test mode because people will be naturally gathering stuff, and as you're starting gathering stuff, you start taking ownership of them, and then if we say, all right, this is going really well, we're going to wipe everything that you've just grinded away for the but don't worry because you knew that was test.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So yeah, we're gonna have some of those coming up in the future. That
I feel like it should be. I mean, just to throw it out there, just it might be even be like a thing that you register for because it's only for the people who want to actually volunteer that testing, knowing the fact that it's going to happen. So, and who knows, maybe there is a reward that you guys can put, tag onto that if that's a thing, like a light reward for first thing. Thank you for testing and being able to help grind because I'm willing to do that. Like if I need to go ahead and test and I know that's going to get wiped, I'm one of those people that I would be okay with knowing the fact that it's going to get wiped.
yeah, I mean we're gonna do our best to keep wipes to a minimum, unless we say right everything that happens in the next 2-3 months we're just gonna wipe every week just to maybe minimize the loss. We don't really know because we're not at that point yet. But as we start building in some of these systems where you are gathering stuff, yeah,
I mean,
they're going
yeah,
to be
this is
rocky roads.
yeah. I mean, this is. I mean, we're changing the industry. I mean, this is. And it's not Web 2. This is
Yeah.
Web 3. And I mean, it's. Can you talk about like the how you're changing that industry? I mean, like as a whole. I mean, if people don't know so already, I mean, this is huge.
Well, I mean, building in Web3 is completely different model than Web2. We don't currently have any VCs, so everything is self-funded. We
Oh wow.
haven't hit the ground with a team of 50 or 100 people. We've had to build it up, and we've had to build it in the public eye. Um, our f- our we fund it. The way the project's been funded at the moment is obviously through sales of NFTs. So the
Oh,
community has been heavily involved with that, and in fact, the whole community is something that you don't have in Web2 unless you've got an IP. So we're building the community as we're going along. So hopefully that means we don't have to spend as much in the future on marketing, although we probably will do if we're fortunate to be in that position. But then we will already have a core base of players, and for me, that's a massive advantage because as soon as these games come out, you get all these haters that come in almost immediately, and we're almost creating a nice little army is probably the wrong word, but people that can come back and go, well, wait, chill out. This is a different approach. You're seeing this, but this isn't the final. And I think that's that's been really great to see. And I think we only get that because we're earning people's trust. If we're saying we're going to deliver this and then we deliver something completely different or it's not quite right, then you, that could go either way. So that there's definitely lots of difference. We're also working on a background of there's a lot of hatred towards Web3 because people don't understand that they've misunderstood. So, but to be fair, there's been lots of nefarious activity in the space, but there's also lots of nefarious activity that happens in Web 2. It's just that used to it. You just goes on. They just accept it at the moment. So we're a new industry, so we have to battle with regulations as well. So we're lots of places we're going uphill. But what will happen in the future, and we've seen all these studios are really interested in what we're doing, is one of these big studios or a massive influencer or something will come out and suddenly go, oh no, you know what, crypto's okay. Look at these new games, and they'll educate people, and then other people will jump on the back bandwagon. It'll probably be an IAAA game. So you know, Apple will be there somewhere, and then suddenly NFTs and the whole, no, they're not calling NFTs. They'll give it some nice name,
Mhm.
Right.
and
Yeah.
I think that's what will happen. And then suddenly people will discover that actually there is a real thriving gaming community there, and games that have built that way. But until then, you know, we are pioneers. We have to go uphill. We are. I won't even say we're slowly knocking down walls, because look at the whole Web3 revolution now. You know, we're affecting industry. There's tons and tons of money and investors that are coming into the space. Big studios are taking note. You've got presidents that are minting NFTs. It's a worldwide phenomena. You've got everything that's going behind Bitcoin and all the other altcoins, and gaming is one of one of many use cases for blockchain. I think a really, really powerful use case for
Mhm.
blockchain. And then couple that with something that people know and recognize, which is a game, and in our instance, a AAA game, and a community game. I think I think we're onto something. I think that is going to be disruptive. I think that's definitely the right word. The
Mhm.
industry is disrupting all over the place. So, you know, to be one of the pioneers to disrupt gaming, um, and not just the game itself, but you know, with the nodes and infrastructure, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
We're only a
It's
tiny team. We're only making, but
Yeah,
you got to start
but
with a
it's
few
this but it's
yeah.
the it's the small teams that make the biggest impact, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I
it's like
mean,
the revolutionaries of the world that
It's a
make
lot
these
yeah.
easier to
revolutions.
move.
You
Yeah, if you're a juggernaut, it takes years and years to turn that ship. You know, we can almost turn on a dime, and
yeah.
we have done it in the
You
past.
yeah, you may be a small team, but you're definitely like what Eric said in that podcast is that you guys are also the pioneers. You guys are really forefronting this whole thing. And there's so much change happening, not like you said, not just in gaming, but crypto's definitely stretching
Yeah,
out into real estate, into
I
uh,
think we're a strong
entertainment
team.
industry.
We're a strong team. We've got a strong vision. We don't go too far away from the vision. You know, we might do things in different orders. Some that
Mhm.
you'll know, some that you don't
Yep.
know, but we
Mhm.
we still have that shared goal.
Yeah. Yeah, and that because it's like even now, like there's been a slight uptick in fear in the Cardano community ever since Pavia made that tweet about them stopping or postponing further development to their project. How can you convey confidence to the community that cornucopia is here to stay?
Well, we're building a game, but ultimately we're a business. So I think when you set out your stall, you have to approach it from a business point of view. You know, yes, we've got an art department and we've got a programming department, but we've also got finance, we've got HR, we've got quite a few other departments as a business. So although we have a team of over 50, that's not 50 developers. You know, we've got marketing in there as well, and we've got legal. We've got everything that we need. So, you know, so we are responsible for all these family lives. So we have our moral code. We are very transparent. We lay everything out. But because we treat this as a business that we want to have a long-term future for everyone, you know, you will see our experience in doing that. So we'll try not to take too big a risks. In terms, we won't build a team to say 200 if we don't have that roadmap. But
Hmm.
we will take risks in maybe developing some of the games, and some parts of the game which might not quite work out, but then we can quickly pivot. So in terms of confidence, I mean, I think you have to look at the quality of the founders, and the management team and the people that we put in place. You know, Matt on marketing, Ben in finance. We look at David. We look at the board that we've just brought on, and we'll introduce. You know, we we have contacts in all parts of different type of industry. So there's a lot of things that we're doing behind the scenes. We're talking to various leaders and various industries. You know, we are constantly working on parts of our business that maybe if you were just a developer, you might not think about these. You know, if you don't have that experience. So, but it is a challenge.
Mhm.
It is really really difficult. I would just like to get up in the morning and just do planning of the game,
Mhm.
but you know that very rarely happens.
I think I never thought about it that way because when I was looking at projects, last cycle I said to myself, I believe in this gaming narrative and I want to get involved in a Web3 game that I like next cycle. And it was the early video on it is what which brought me to you. And then started doing my own research, and I didn't. And I'm kind of ashamed I didn't even think about this, that the pressure that is on the backs of you and Josh with so many people relying on
Mhm.
you, because they're not like crypto people. They're not like, they're getting paychecks and they're taking care of their family, and that's a different kind of pressure than 6 or 7 founders of a project who create a crypto and then hope that they can sell their share of it.
Yeah.
That's a completely different scenario, and I don't know that I've really come across another project in all of my research going back 3 cycles now, which has as much weight of the group of people that you have relying on this being successful. I think it's really.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think when you are looking at kind of projects, you have to, you know, everyone says do your own research and do your due
Mhm.
diligence, and you know, in
Mhm.
the early days, we might not have had the team that we've got now, the
Mhm.
size of the team, but we were all doxed. You could see us straight away. You can come and talk to us. I think that's huge. We were
Huge.
we'd already done we'd already done some of our time in the community. It's not like we'd come from anywhere. I say I was part of Catalyst. Josh already had a YouTube. He was running a stake pool, so we had some. Um, we had the foundations within Web3 and within Cardano and with other blockchains as we brought more and more people on. We have the experience with being entrepreneurial, building teams, building games, definitely planning. You know, we've got lots and lots of fundamental life skills and team building and company building skills, as well as bringing on the developers. I think when you are starting a new company, yes, you wear lots of hats, but one of the key things that you have to do is you have to recognize where you are maybe weak, and if you bring experts into those different roles. You know, I'm not very good at finance, but we had to quickly get not only not only somebody who's good at finance, but Web3 finance is
That's
Like
scarce.
whole new
three people on all of
level.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything really, you know, the fundamentals of our game have not changed.
Mhm.
So when people look at things and going, "Oh, you're not doing this or you're not doing that," no,
Yeah, the
you
course.
just
I
Yeah.
stick with us because you know the fundamentals haven't changed. But the landscape around us is freaking crazy.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too where I feel like what you just said is the fun stick to your fundamentals, and that's something I really I urge you guys to definitely at Cornucopias to that that advice is huge. You definitely want to stick to your fundamentals, just because you're never going to win. I think I've mentioned this in the podcast before that you're not going to win 100% of your audience, right? You
Mhm.
got to just stick with your guns, stick with what you believe and what you're good at, make the game fun, focus on that as a principle, and you'll be set. In terms of like a long term, looking at long term, like I've always also speculated and envisioned that you guys would, Cornucopias could also at some point sort of become its own sort of like Steam platform, right? Like I felt like you could also have other games that you could partner up in the future. Not right now, right? Stick with your fundamentals with creating your
Mhm.
game right now. But at the same time, it just feel like if there are cornucopias could become the solution because of the technology that you've built with your nodes and file nodes and stuff like that. Is that something that you have potentially have thought about in the future that you could be partnering with other projects that even if they are already like a household name, even but
Yeah.
they could basically use
Your
Cornucopias
Web3.
as the Steam platform, right? Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm just, it's nice to know that we were way off on that. I want to end on like a really interesting question here, Rob. Thanks for all your time and sitting here with us, and we can't believe that like we get to do this with you. It's so
Yeah,
like, I mean, I don't even think when we started the podcast it was even like an idea. We were just like, man, nobody's really doing anything. Let's like and him and I were sitting around until 2 o'clock in the morning racing, and we were doing 4 hours of podcasts while we were racing. So we're like, let's just record it and cut it down and see what we can do. And we had to learn all the ways to do it. And to have this here, it's like huge, like it just feels amazing for us. So
yeah, that's great. That's
um
this is
It's
a
good. It's
milestone
good
for
for me.
us.
I like chatting with people. We're all just normal people. We all
yeah,
start from the same place.
yeah, we're
At
all
some
just normal
point we
weird.
had a community of zero.
Yeah.
We are so you have to pinch yourself. Almost immediately these guilds started forming. People started coming from everywhere. People were making. I remember people making videos of us. I remember Freed. Dap Central. He made this video. I was like, wow. I can't believe he's making a video of us. So I started following him. I think I was
Mhm.
follower number 18 of Fareed.
Freed's blown up so much since then.
Yeah,
It's
when
wild.
when I meet him, I'm a fanboying over him. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, likewise. I can't wait to
So
meet Fareed in person.
yeah, me too. So I'm not like, so because we are newer at this, so I'm going to happily steal content from Josh at Late Game Crypto because he had a question of David that I thought was a really good question. It was actually posed by someone on Twitter. You might know, I call him Founder Josh, so we don't confuse him from Late Game Crypto Josh. So this was the question that he asked David, and I'll give you his answer in case you haven't seen it and see what you think about that answer and if you have your own answer to it. The question was, what's the biggest strength of Cornucopias that the community doesn't know about? Now, David said, and I love this answer. David said it's the fact that the team is made up of people who aren't in Web3, that you're kind of using Web2 talent to build a great game that uses Web3 tech. I was wondering if that's your answer too, or if you have something different to it.
I mean, I think the biggest strength and weakness is always going to be your team.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a balance there of building that team, but also keeping it strong. I think as deadlines approach, people naturally get stressed. We get overworked. New members can join. That can upset the balance. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the strength of the team is kind of having the right leadership within, not just at the top, but within each of the team, and giving them the confidence to know that nobody's is perfect. We're all in this together, and we all stand and fall together. But as long as we have the same goal in mind, we can push on together. Everybody has good, they have bad days, and I think in those bad days, that's when you need the support of your peers, or just the peace of mind to know that the team's there should you need them. There's no guarantees in life, but I do believe that if you do the best for yourself and for your team, and then at least you can hold your head up high and say, we gave ourselves the best chance at this. And 3 years later on, now we're still here. We're stronger than ever. Now we have the game to show off, and it's been an incredible journey,
Mhm.
if you think about it. So yeah, the hidden strength. I mean, I don't think it's that hidden. The hidden strength is the team. It's the
Yeah,
team,
we've been loving meeting them too on
and
Cornucopia Cafe.
yeah.
So I hope you keep doing that.
And
Yeah.
Yeah,
people
I
have met
really
them in real life. You can see the feedback immediately.
Mm.
yeah, this is great. I love yeah, I really love meeting the team, everybody that has been, willing to go ahead and put themselves on camera. And I feel like even if they're, if they're camera shy, I feel like it's even okay to just do straight audio.
Yeah.
It's that's fine as well. I mean, it's just it's nice to see. It just certainly makes me a lot more bullish in your team and your project.
Yeah. Yeah. Rob, thanks a lot. Thanks for doing this. I mean, I know we already kind of said it, but thanks again. I mean, it's been awesome for us. We can't. I mean, we hopefully, we're doing our episode 50s and our episode 100s too, and we keep
Yeah.
kind of interacting. And hopefully, you tell Josh that you had a good time, and maybe in a couple months we can get him on to do like we really love to talk to him about his side of it. That's why we want to kind of do you guys separately if we could even have both.
Josh
Is
definitely
because
wants to come on your show.
oh yeah, I'm excited to talk to him too. We have a lot of questions on his side of the game.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you have anything you want to close, Rob, let us know.
I just want to say, thanks for supporting us.
Oh,
sure.
Thanks for covering us. To the community as well, like, comment, and subscribe to these guys. And it is hard, starting your own podcast. You're not, like you say, you're not getting paid for it. It is your own little business.
No.
You do it out of the, it's interesting. We never expected we'd be doing over 100 videos. Like you say, you will pretty quickly get there, and it's crazy how time flies.
It's so crazy. Yeah.
I just told one of my friends that our coworker at work. I was like, "Yeah, I started." What? They just were so shocked. I was like, "How many?" He's like, "I think we've been doing it for 6 months now." It's like,
They don't believe
I'm
you.
surprised.
They don't believe you.
Yeah.
What?
I like the time capsule of our thumbnails. We got all the thumbnails out there sticking heads on things.
Oh, when I started this game, I mean, I didn't have no gray hair like this. Time capsules and the backgrounds keep changing. It's crazy.
I was hoping. I was telling Fo here to go ahead and have you take a few beers just before the podcast.
No, I'm only on apple juice. It's only like 6 in the afternoon here. I mean, I can leave you with a leak if you want me to.
If you have a leak,
as long as you don't get in trouble with Josh and the rest of the team and David, and
or give us a leak that gets you in trouble. Yeah.
The leak is on the next build. You'll be able to start directly in Solace.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Let's start directly in. So I'm guessing maybe you get the Pavilion, the World Breaker, and then maybe like a Solace.
1, 2, or 3.
It's 1, 2, or 3. Okay. Oh, so you'll be not only be able to start in Solace, you'll be able to start in the Solace that you want.
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
I don't know how we can top that.
Great stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Bye.
Eddie, we did it. The interview is over. How are you feeling? What's your thoughts?
I feel enlightened. I feel educated. I feel even more bullish than I was before. Funded. I mean, that's actually clear, right? We talked about that in my our last episode, and the fact that it's self-funded. I mean, that's interesting, right? Because that just means that there's really a lot more risk on their side, right? And that's why they strongly want this thing to succeed. So they're extremely motivated, more so than when a VC a funded game is. So it just speaks volumes to me. That's what makes me more bullish. And I also love the comment about the Steam question. How he like
the Steam.
He's like, can you become a Steam platform? He's just like kind of
yes. Eddie and I thank the Knights Guild for letting us be a part of their amazing community. Make sure to follow them on X. Use the links in the description to join their Discord and their website. Thanks again to Rob for joining us today. Thank you to Josh, David, all the people working hard to build this game, all the effort you're putting in to share with us what's being done and what's going to come in the future. We appreciate your efforts every week on this at the end of this episode, because it's important that we say that. And this week is seems like it's even more important. I think, Eddie, you agree with that, right?
100%, 1000%.
Finally, please subscribe to Around the Corner. It almost seems small saying it, but we want to keep doing this stuff. And the more you subscribe, the more you like, the more you comment, the more helpful it is. And so we can do more of this for you. Thanks, guys, for watching. Eddie, thanks for being my partner for the first 22 episodes. Happy birthday again. And have a good day, man. All right, well, have a good rest of your day. Thanks again.
You too.
I appreciate it.
I don't know how to escape. Leave studio. All right.
Leave studio.
See you around the corner.
Right,
see you around the corner.
See you around the corner.
Oh, I wish I was recording that. I could have used it in a commercial.